happened. Restream still thinks it's doing 24 hours.
Question, mate. Do you have to pay for Restream? Because I've noticed that new accounts now have a Restream watermark, literally like just tacked in the top corner.
Do they? I don't pay a penny for this.
Oh, interesting.
I think though you are limited to how many places you can stream at the same time.
2, I think.
2, yes. We only stream to 2, but I think if you pay for it, you can stream to more places.
They're expensive. Restream is expensive.
It's a fairly small service, though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It's fucking expensive. For what it is, that's expensive.
I'm just checking the audio. Good. Audio's coming through. We've got audio. It's always good stuff. Oh, the Skazz on quiet. I lost Skazz.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I was distracted.
Shit. Oh, shit, I've lost it. What was it? What, a bird outside? Oh, shiny thing.
Ooh.
Skazz
looking at the zombies just pressed against the glass.
Skazz just saw a new camera, like, oh, shiny.
Yeah, no, I did. That's your fault, you dick. So, oh, mate, look at that sensor.
Next week, I bought a new camera.
Yeah, all of a sudden you can see my big dumb head in higher resolution.
Yeah. That little screen on for those who are joining us for the live stream, the little screen where Skazz is, which is like takes up like not even a quarter of the actual screen, will be in 6K from next week.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
Yeah. If you could zoom in and you weren't having it compressed through the various things, you'd see it'd be beautiful.
You'd see your screen crack as my face gets displayed on it.
Yeah. Game on the Suffolk Ram.
Skazzius.
Welcome to episode 215 of the Randers podcast.
Yay! That number.
But you throw me now because normally you say, is it 215 already? That's what you should be saying.
Oh, mate, 215 already? Really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, thank you. Keeping to script. Good. The director will be happy.
Checking that one off. Yeah. Line.
Yeah. This is all scripted, you know.
Fucking Ran Nerds 215 take 23.
Yeah. We'll get it right eventually.
God damn it. Can't you guys just get through the fucking intro? The director just slams everything to the floor. Because I keep telling people, this is actually the same room, just as 2 different sets.
Yeah, it's and I tell you what, that Spielberg guy, he's getting really pissed off with us.
Yeah, mate, he's just got to learn to chill out. The trouble is, like, what people don't realize is when the cameras like turn off and we stand up and walk away, like, oh no, this woman walks over, hands me a robe and a glass of champagne. Ram gets a cigar.
Say, I don't get a robe and champagne.
Oh, don't you?
No, I get a hoodie and a can of Coke.
I think
it's not the same.
I think they've got us mixed up, mate.
We need to get better agents. Mine's a creep idiot, obviously.
Clearly. Let's be fair, mate. I'm from the witness state. I've got the negotiating power, all right?
Yeah, but you're not negotiating how usually involves throwing knives.
Yeah, it's about right.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I suppose I can't complain about that.
That's the best way.
Best way.
Call their bluff on it, mate. Call their bluff. Threaten to walk if you have to. I guarantee, mate, they'll give you more.
Yeah, well, I did that once. And that's why you had to present the podcast by yourself.
Is that why that happened?
Yeah, they came up with a cover story saying I'd gone to a Land Rover show, but it wasn't actually. I was in contract negotiations. I mean, until then, I didn't get a can of Coke.
Oh,
so,
crap, mate. I was going to say, have we technically broke kayfabe now? Are we now breaking the storylines? And now people are they're looking behind the curtain going, whoa.
Mate, I've been keeping in character for the best part of 11 years. Mate. You know?
it's about time, right?
Yeah, it's about time. We should break away from Randheads and form our own wrestling group.
That'd be fantastic.
Spielberg's shaking his head at me right now. He's not impressed. Oi, Spielberg, if you don't improve yourself, we'll get Cameron back.
Get it sorted, son. We need more lens flares. And explosions.
Yeah. And yeah, really, really good water effects.
I mean, that's really expensive, though.
And you think round notice isn't worth it?
Mate, no, it's not that we're not worth it. Just, I mean, I might have to renegotiate my champagne and all that quota if you're going to start upping the budget.
Mate, we'll hire first. Currently, we've got 2 people with the spotlights flashing back and forth. We'll have a third one.
God blimey. I have wondered how we do that with guests. Because, I mean, we only have 2 spotlights.
Well, you know, we need to speak to the technical man, Zabe, and see if he can add a third spotlight into our get the third bloke in here and get into it. That's what Zabe does. He swings 2 torches around every week.
Little do you know, a super high budget. It's the £3 LED torch from Amazon, and it's just sat in the background.
Amazon don't push the budget up, mate. He went to Lidl.
Hey.
And that was an upgrade from the BP garage, the one you get with. Does anyone ever buy those things that you go to? Well, you don't go to petrol station very much, but they all advertise little really crappy stuff you can buy. It's like, yeah, just what I need for my car. I need a new set of pencils.
Well, I don't know, because I didn't realise that one of the local petrol stations had fucking up and disappeared.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the Shell one.
Was
a shock? Yeah, Shell. That was a shock to me as well. Was it BP? It might be BP.
I think it might have been BP. We were driving and I was like, where the fuck's the petrol station gone? Oh, it's going to be
It's still on the... if you go on their website, it's still listed as being there.
Does it still say it's open?
Yes. Last time I checked, it's like... Because I was like, what's happened with that? But I've Googled it. I can't find any planning applications for it. I can't find, there's no sort of, I actually just Googled, no articles came up about it. I know there's a sign saying there's going to be a Greg's there, because, you know, we're short of Greg's in this town. But it's like,
yeah.
I mean, I can't believe that petrol station was struggling there. So I don't know what's happened there.
From what I did hear, they're going to be putting in the OM, like the electric points for EVs.
Oh, right.
So I don't know if maybe they're just remodeling the whole thing or what.
Maybe. Have you still got the portal turrets around it? Have you seen those little portal turrets? They haven't got little portal turrets around them. Have you not looked that hard? They're there.
Mate, I went past it today. I was like, where the fuck did that go?
You didn't see the little portal turrets?
No.
Oh, mate. There's little portal. They're little portal turrets, but they're black and yellow. And if you get too close to them, a man in a gruff Northern accent tells you to keep away. I'm not joking. They are there. They're basically little like portable CCTV cameras that you can set up on building sites. They look just like the portal turrets.
I'll be taking those then. I mean,
yeah, somebody might steal one later on, which would be such a shame.
Yeah. Go on, Stephen. Off you go. Sword at Spearley.
Yeah, we've got plenty of lackeys to do that for us.
Yeah.
Get what's his face? Tom Cruise to do it for us. He's good at that sort of thing.
Yeah, get that geese.
get him to fly a helicopter over, and he can slide or drop down and pick one up for us.
That'd be fantastic.
I'll put it in the corner of my room. That's my new camera.
There you go.
Corner of my room. Yeah.
Rams upgrade.
Yeah. So, how have you been in Skazz?
I'm alive.
Good.
You?
I'm alive.
Fantastic.
Been up to anything?
No. Well, actually, Can I have a rant?
Go on.
Right. So, last podcast, if memory serves, which it usually doesn't, because that's why I'm constantly looking for people going, line.
Yeah.
Seriously, what's the next thing in the script? Oh, right, that. Cool. Last podcast, from memory, we were talking about how VR immersion is bollocks. And that a wheel...
For some games.
Sure. And a wheel and a HOTAS and all that kind of stuff really builds immersion.
Yes.
Can't deny that. It's fantastic. If you're in VR and you can feel the thing that you can see on the screen, to a degree, immersion goes through the roof. I fucking hate wheels and HOTAS controls in PC gaming.
All right.
I hate them. Now, I don't know if people can see very well, I've actually got a wheel behind me, mounted to a cockpit, which I sorted out, was it like last week before? And I love the wheel. It's fine. It's like a Logitech G920. I've had it since 2020, and I've only now recently picked up a thing that I can bolt it to actually use the damn thing. So I picked up a Playseat Challenge foldable racing cockpit. So it's a seat and then the bracket to put the wheel on and the pedals on and all that. And it's nice. It folds up. It sits right behind my chair. And then when I want to go for a drive, I just put this chair away, pull that one out, and bickety bam, job done. Because I can't physically mount a wheel to my desk. Right, but I've had this rant before on podcast. I absolutely hate manually mapping keybinds in games on PC. I hate it. I love the customization of PC. The fact that you can change all of your controls on PC. But I hate it if I have to actually physically set them up. Alright, so, I don't know. Example. Assetto Corsa. So, racing sim. It knows that I've got a Logitech G9, what the fuck ever it is. Yeah, the G920 racing wheel plugged in. It sees it. Right? It also has a preset to tell it, like, hey, here's a preset. What you got plugged in? What's your thing? Do you want to go with the this wheel and throttle, this thing, that thing? And you select it, and it will then go... here's what your throttle will be. Here's what your doorbell will be. So you've got your throttle, your wheel, shifters, brakes, clutch, all that shite, right? But it doesn't map anything to it. Like, at all.
It doesn't load default configuration, so it's actually recognized it. So it's not plug and play.
No, but then neither is Euro Truck. And so you go into Euro Truck, and all of a sudden, like, all of my buttons are completely fucking wrong. And I'm like, what is the point in this? I'm then sat there having to manually configure every button on my wheel to make it work. And it's like, why? Why? You know what it is. Give me a generic layout. Like, for example, Assetto Corsa, and maybe I'm just being a moron, right? But I started the game, selected my wheel, selected the template, but it didn't bind anything to it. No throttle, no clutch, no brake, nothing, right? Nothing. It recognized when I was pressing the buttons, but nothing was actually mapped to the control section in Assetto Corsa. So I pick my car, I pick my track, and nothing. Nothing. Can't start the engine, can't turn the wheels, nothing. I'm just literally sat there on the line. Okay. I go into the menus. Fiddle about again. Okay, so I've recognised normal stuff. Great. Go back in. Still nothing. Go into the configuration. Actually manually now configure. Realise that it hasn't... It says to me, G920 throttle. And then there's nothing actually in the G920 throttle section. So I have to then click that, hit the throttle, what I want to have the throttle, job done. You think, right? Same with the brakes, same with the clutch, same with, the shifter, the wheel, and all that. Go in, and all of a sudden, it's now got the controls set to normal mode. Meaning that, so or on some wheels, I know on mine, if the thing isn't set to inverted, so you've got normal and inverted, if it isn't set to inverted, the brakes are hard on, the clutch is hard on, and the accelerator is hard on right out of the box. You have to tell it to invert it. Why not do that by default? You know what wheel it is. You know what it is. I've told you what it is. So why do I then have to go in and go, yep, that's what I want my accelerator to be, that's what I want my brake to be, that's what I want my clutch to be, make sure you invert it. And I'm sat there pulling my fucking hair out, going, why do I have to do this?
It's good. I mean, well, I'm not going to defend them. So I agree with you. Actually, for visual common wheels, there should be a default functioning specification that it can recognise and know what it's doing with, and off it goes. You should pick it up.
Yeah.
It's going to be a case of there are so many, because obviously there's a physical layout to a keyboard and mouse is a standardized layout. Whereas the button numbers on a wheel can be, depending on how they're built, can be all over the place.
Yes.
Now, what is button one is not necessarily what you think button one is. So, like my wheel here on the gear stick bit, I have like buttons 1 to 4, and like button. I think it's on. It's on this. Is it on this one? Or is it my other wheel? My other wheel I've got one basically where I've got buttons on one unit, and one set of buttons is like 1 to 4. The other set of buttons are like 15 and 16. Because that's how the manufacturer has built them. So what is actually this point is, I think the simple answer is that there are not enough people using wheels to make it worth their while putting the configurations. What's actually needed is a third party to come along and go, right, we will basically, a bit like an API, we'll basically act as a go-between. We'll set the configurations up. You tell us what buttons should be doing this. The button on the right of the wheel should be the indicator or whatever.
Sure.
And we'll look at it and go, well, okay, this is the most logical mapping for that. You basically do it, and we'll then like, if the mapping is wrong on the wheel, like what you think should be the indicator is actually button 12, and you think you say it's button 14, we'll basically map it up so it works. It's probably an option for someone to do that and make it work and license that to people like Euro Truck, all sorts, so that every wheel works.
Yeah.
Off the bat. That is what I would imagine is the issue, is that the layouts are all so weird. I mean, I've had joysticks where on most joysticks the trigger is button 1.
Yeah.
I have had some where it's button 2. So that is the boring answer behind it. But it would be, yes, very nice if they actually could load for at least the common models. Sit down. It wouldn't take them that long to build a default configuration, really.
I mean, let's be fair as well, though. A lot of these, just in the area of wheels, a lot of these wheels are PlayStation or Xbox compatible. They're X input compatible. So they are just literally seen as an Xbox pad with a few extra buttons.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yet for some reason, stuff just doesn't get mapped correctly. It seems absolutely ridiculous to me at times. I understand that if you buy like some cheap Chinese wheel or some cheap foreign wheel, some cheap plastic thing that's just come off of a dodgy assembly line somewhere, no name, you're not going to have a profile for it. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with that. You get what you pay for, kind of thing. But if your software knows the wheel, like the Logitech G920, Euro Truck's in its software.
Yeah.
Euro Truck knows the wheel. It sees it. It says, mate, there's a Logitech G920 and keyboard because for some reason you have to use both. I'm sat there thinking, why is it all of a sudden that what was my indicators a minute ago? That's now my gear shifter in fully automatic. Why is that mapped like that? Why is my clutch my accelerator? Why is the brake so fucking hard that I practically have to put all of my weight on it to make it to work? Like that's even if that's mapped that way. Because when I first tried Euro Truck, my accelerator was my brake. I'm like, it doesn't feel right. Give me a Billy Bob basic generic layout, and then if I find it's not comfortable for me, as you say, allow me to fine tune it. But at least give me a base to start from. Yeah.
Because I generally, for most games that use controls like steering wheels or joysticks and stuff, I generally don't even bother looking at default configuration. I generally like almost zero all out and just start fresh.
Yeah.
Because of that purpose, is that again, the person who designs the layout, they may disagree. Like, well, actually, this button here that you've put on here, I don't use very often. I'm going to remap it to something that I use quite a lot. And so I end up just generally scrapping it and starting fresh.
Sure.
When it comes to most peripherals like that. But most of the guy who tweaks his keyboard clocks, I have a a preferred keyboard and mouse configuration that I've used for years, and I will remap games around that because that's what I'm used to. It's my muscle memory, and it's easier for me to remap them than it is to relearn it.
Sure.
So,
I think a lot of my problem comes from the idea that I play on multiple platforms.
yeah.
And so, let's say, for example, I play, I don't know, let's pretend Euro Truck was on console. Because we know that if I run Euro Truck with an Xbox controller, it's got a default layout.
Yeah.
Right? But if I then hook up a wheel, there's no layout. Right? If pretend that Euro Truck was on the Xbox, all of a sudden, I hook up run the game on the Xbox. I'm playing the game on the Xbox. I expect that if I hook up a control pad, the same control pad to the PC, I have the same layout.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to all of a sudden, oh my god, I've got to relearn how all these buttons work. It would be absolutely ridiculous. Near enough, all controls are the same across all of the consoles now. So I expect the button layouts to be the same or similar.
Because muscle memory is a bitch.
Yeah, of course. So the idea that, as I say, it's one of the things I like about PC. You've got the freedom to change all the layouts, but it's also one of the things that really gets on my tits. Hang on, I've got to let the dog out.
Okay.
God damn it, Velcro dog.
Velcro dog.
Come on, Nuggy.
Yeah, I mean, Skazz is right. You know, a nice, good default configuration just makes life so much easier. Like I say, I remap mine because I have a very weird configuration. For example, I use right mouse button for jump instead of space. I don't know where the right mouse button jump came from, but it came from ages ago, and that's what I use. But actually, mine's not that far off it. I tend to put iron sights on one of my side mouse buttons. So I've gone to hand where someone knows you zoom. I tend to put on side mouse. I usually always have a 5-button mouse. That is just a configuration that I've picked up for over so many years, and I've fine-tuned to whatever. And I really hate a game when you can't configure the change the controls at all. That really annoys me. Playing games where, like, for example, space has to be jump. That really annoys me because that's just not natural to me. Most games, space is melee or throw grenade or whatever, something like that. So it really throws me out. So I being able to configure controls is a big thing, and I mean I've had INI files and stuff in some games to reconfigure controls just to make it work. But I'm saying if you want to play me a game, most of the main engines have built-in reconfigurers built into them. Just let us change the controls. It makes life so much nicer, so much easier, and it means we can all be individuals and have fun. Oh, so I need to sit down and actually do a configuration of reconfigure my HOTAS for Eve because the way I've got it configured I don't like, so I need to sit down and redo that. And there's Skazz in the dog out, so hopefully the dog is fine. Whichever he is. He's going to be causing annoyance and pain and problems. Joys of spaniels. Oh, so you should put activation on my middle mouse button rather than the F key. That's the one thing I did change. I think I used to use the F key. I think Half-Life used the F key for activation. I think I changed it because later on I changed the middle mouse button. What other ones I tend to change? Oh, I tend to have do you have an in-game diary or like your Pip-Boy or whatever? I tend to have them on tab to give me the bring it all up because again, it's just new and handy. I know where it is then. So I'm just watching an advert at the moment. There's game about different coloured lights, slide lights. I'm just wondering if you were to get a license like Unreal, make them 3 primary colours, whether they'd actually mix up properly. I might try that later and see what happens. Ooh, what's going on there? Concurrent viewers 1. I assume I count as a concurrent viewer anyway. But if you are viewing here, welcome. Yeah, viewing trend 28. Oh, that's giving me a warning. YouTube's giving us a lovely warning. I love when YouTube gives us a warning. Great. Yeah, so... Oh, sounds like life. Sounds like life is back. So because of the delay, I'll hear it before I see him. I'm funny with using wireless headphones. So I'd hear everything I've been saying for the last half an hour, 10 minutes, and he's not noticed.
Hello?
Hello! I was then saying, it's like, I'll be able to hear you before I see you, because there's a slight delay.
God damn it.
Yeah. That's what I've been explaining. I've been explaining to people my amazing control scheme I use.
Oh, wait, because you base your controls on Rainbow Six, don't you?
Yeah, partly Rainbow Six, partly some other games as well.
All right.
Yeah. It's a very mutated mash. Yeah, it's definitely. I appreciate my comment. It's definitely not standard.
Sure. That's like when we ask you for buttons. Like, like Ram, what button? What's crouch? What's this? What's that? You're like, oh, you
For
press
me,
this button.
it's
like,
this.
It's like, what?
That's throw grenade. Yeah.
It's like, no, Ram, no, it isn't.
Look. I'm sorry. It took me a long time to switch from using arrow keys to WASD. I tell you that.
Oh mate, I remember those days.
Yeah.
Because it felt so foreign.
Yeah.
To change positions like that. I mean, I can remember sometimes just looking at some of the old MechWarrior layouts. Look, you'd have all those keys, and you're like, "Oh God, how am I supposed to remember all this?"
Oh, but back in the day, you used to get little cardboard overlays.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Oh, they were great. I miss those days. I actually, I know it's like I really do miss getting a game in a box that came with loads of random stuff. A manual that was actually pretty in depth, not just like install the game, download this PDF.
Yeah.
There'd be. I mean, I remember there'd been. I used to get manuals, and they used to have like. I remember a manual for a RTS game, which was quite thick because it was full of like short stories and stuff in it. It was really good. It's like, here's how you play the game. Oh, by the way, here's a short story about such and such. It's like, oh, that's amazing. I really miss those. Yeah, you get. Oh, you used to get. I think I had a combat flight simulator game that came with an aviator map, like a proper aviator map.
Sure.
Oh, it was amazing.
Speaking of, actually, that reminds me of was it Knights of the Sky on the Amiga? And that the manual was pretty beefy, right? And you could flick through it, and it would have all of the different planes listed on it, all their specs, where they were from, like who made it, top speed, like all sorts of magical stuff was just
Yeah.
in that thing. And you didn't even have to play the game. You could just sit there and just read this manual and just learn
I
so
used-
much.
I used to love MechWarrior 3. You came with 2 books. One was the manual, and then one was a book on all the mechs and their tonnage and background and stuff like that, and what they were using, pictures and wireframe diagrams of all and stuff. And it's like, oh, this is really cool. I can't wait to see that in game.
PC gaming once upon a time was a full-blown experience. That's one reason why I was kind of against Steam back in the day, because you didn't have that same kind of groove. You'd buy a game, a big box game, and as you say, it would have you could have a map in it or a CD, big chunky manual, loads of like interesting little bits that maybe you wouldn't necessarily learn in the game.
Yeah.
Because all of the story, and because that was the thing with console games as well, a lot of the initial story was fleshed out in the manual.
Yeah. Old school PC games used to come in a box, about A4 size box, about 1.5 inch thick, and inside would be a manual. There'd be a little like lore book, perhaps some random goodies, and then your actual game would come. If you were lucky, it might come in a jewel case. If you're unlucky, it came a little bit of paper with a clear side to it that you slipped in and out of, and that was your game. So it's like, yeah, we'll give you a massive box, but here's a shitty bit of paper or a shitty jewel case that will snap after the third time you open it.
Yep. Well, it's like this is I remember Tomb Raider 2. We bought Tomb Raider 2, big box. It came with the game, a deck of playing cards, and a Lara Croft mouse mat.
Yeah.
Just random fluff in the box,
Now, that would be a collector's edition. They charge you £200 for it.
Yes. But once upon a time, that was standard. I love digital. It's a ball ache. And now they can lock a load of stuff behind, like, the fear of missing out, the FOMO stuff. If you don't buy it within 3 minutes of us announcing it, you don't get half of this stuff.
Oh, I hate that stuff.
You don't get this entire armor set. You don't get this part of the map. Like, maybe we'll release it later, but if you buy it within the first, 2 weeks of the game coming out, you can have this entire scenario. Or if it's like a sequel, here's an entire section of the game that, from the previous game that you can replay in this engine. So you can, get up to speed. Not if you don't buy it within the first 2 weeks, though.
Yeah, that's what I hate, like pre-order bonuses. Like you pre-order, you get this. Like you're just punishing people who come to the game late, though. People who come, like 6 months, haven't heard the game, so they say, "Oh, that sounds cool," and they miss out on some cool stuff because they didn't know the game existed.
I've had that tons. Like a couple of games, a couple of big RPGs. I didn't realize they'd come out on PC. And then like a year later, I find out. So, oh yeah, by the way, you now don't get the art book, you don't get the soundtrack, a bunch of character skins are missing, in some cases characters are missing, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, I get it with physical stuff, like there's obviously so limited about I get that, but digital stuff, it's a line in a database.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little check flag in a database. Oh yeah, you've got this. It's like, come on, it's not. It'd be reasonable.
I mean, let's be fair, but look, and Sam, we understand with the physical stuff. Once upon a time, that stuff was just standard. Like if you bought Tomb Raider 2, from any point in time, from the launch of Tomb Raider 2 to the end of life of Tomb Raider 2, if the version that I bought was still available, whilst it was on the shelf, you got the playing cards, the mouse mat, that experience. It wasn't like, oh yeah, man, it's going to be on the shelf for like 2 weeks and then gone. That's what you bought.
Yeah.
I miss those days, but then by the same token, I've got kids and no space. So
yeah, I mean, I miss going into like game or something equivalent back in the day and looking at all the big boxes on the shelf and going, "Oh, that looks cool. That one's got a gold embossing." And the amount of games I bought because of the box, it's just not the same. It's just not the same with a DVD case. It's just not the same.
No, I get that.
Well, I can't remember the last physical game I bought. Actually, I actually can't remember. I have bought. I mean, what was it? What would be the last one? Probably. I'm going to say the last physical game I bought would be the collector's edition of. I can tell you actually, collector's edition of Deus Ex: Mankind Divided.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
That came out 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. That's the last physical game I bought.
I've had physicals of console games since. So like Doom 2016. My family got me the collector's edition of Doom 2016. Got some Switch games. I'll tell you one thing that really got me recently, actually. I found out that the Wii U, so Nintendo's console before the Switch, those things are already dying, like hardware failure.
Oh, really?
Because of bad NAND flash, bad memory, or bad storage. Because so for anyone that doesn't know, I'm going to oversimplify here. Imagine NAND flash it's a memory card. Yeah. Just it's built in. It's in there. You can't change it. It's just there. And when you turn it on, that's where oh look, the logo comes up and the menus come up and that. Like that's your storage, right? It's like a micro SD card.
Yeah.
When a micro SD card fails, I'm sure loads of people have had SD cards and micro SD cards and that fail, right? You're fucked. Or you can just replace a micro SD card, right? But all the files on it are fucked. Now imagine that happening to a bit that is literally the gut of the machine.
Yeah.
Like the I don't know, there's a bit rot happens and the data gets corrupted on the NAND flash, the storage. The console's cocked it. There's nothing you can do about it. Once it fails, it's failed.
You can't install. It's not like you can't install. It's not like a PC where you can reinstall the operating system on a different hard drive and install recover bits and pieces. It's gone. There's no the operating system. You can't install it.
Sure.
Nintendo can do it. You can't.
Exactly. And there will come a time when they stop supporting it. They're not tooled up for it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I found out that the Wii U's were dying, and that one thing that I don't know why it slipped my mind because it was kind of obvious. So back in the day, ROM chips were one-time deal, and they were expensive to make because they were somewhat custom to the thing that you were putting on them.
Yeah.
Right? These days, you just buy cheap generic NAND flash storage, and those are prone to fail. Mm-hmm. You don't really have to do a huge amount for them to fail. I mean, bit rot affects everything.
Yeah.
But the cheaper it gets, the more likely it is to fail. These days, cartridges and things are built so cheaply. I'm thinking to myself, if the Wii U is failing already, who's to say that a lot of the games that people are buying, that they're collecting for, say, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo DS, PlayStation Vita, those things are all on generic NAND flash.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like people are buying that stuff like it's an old cartridge from the 80s that still runs now. But chances are that's going to suffer with bit rot in no time flat.
Yeah.
Your entire physical collection, people bought these things physically to store them because, like, oh, you don't want digital because it doesn't last. When the store goes, it doesn't last. I was like,
well, you back it up.
Yeah, your physical collection isn't going to last either. It's going to suffer from bit rot and die. It's going to go. The Wii U, apparently, if you leave it for a while, that's what causes it. It just fails. It's not a case of like if you use it too much, it goes. It just if you let it sit, it goes. Physical just isn't what it used to be.
No.
And digital is you need it, but then you're at the mercy of every other publisher under the sun. Does EA want to delist a game that you want to play because they want you to buy the new one?
Yeah.
And they do, by the way. Fuck you, EA. Fuck you. The amount of fucking stress I've had recently trying to play a game with my mates. Oh yeah, by the way, we want you to buy this F122. So we've delisted everything else off the store. I was like, you wankers.
But everything. It's literally just sort of just F122.
Yeah, that's all
it is.
EA now puts on Steam. It's just F122. No, whatever other games EA has. I don't know what EA does. It's just F122. They've like kicked like literally not the entire F1 series because they pulled other games from F1, but a lot of their old racing games have just been pulled because they want people to buy the newer ones.
Yeah.
And it's like, why was that only recent? Well, it's because EA wasn't the publisher until very recently.
Well, the simple answer is it's because EA, when they release a new version of the game, basically what they do is they go into the they get the Photoshop assets with the the main menu item and so forth and the logo on it, and they just change the year date.
Yes, about that.
And resave it and change a few players' names in the database, and then they sell the new game. It's a new version.
Do you know what's actually kind of that? Speaking of just just changing the names, there's a chap on romhacking.net who has updated, is it NHL 94 to have all of 2023's rosters. So it's all it's like tweaked the mechanics of the game a little bit to make it a little bit more realistic, but it's still NHL 94. But with all the current players, all the current stats, all the current kind of rule tweaks and all that. And I think that's phenomenal. Yeah, EA does it and it's shit.
Yeah.
It's absolutely shit. Can I just go back to the... I got from controls. It's one of the things I love it about PCs. But I simultaneously hate it that, as you said, it's a muscle memory thing. It is a muscle memory thing completely. That we have complete freedom to map things any way you like, as you do, Ram. And your bunk ass random layout made from a bajillion years.
I love my bunk ass random layout. Why is the jump on right mouse button? Because fuck you, right?
That's basically it. I'm like, wait, but that's supposed to be to scope in. What are you doing?
No, that's one of the side buttons.
People use the side button.
Side button on my mouse.
People actually use those?
Yeah, I use it for scope.
Ugh, weird. You weirdo.
The front one is for scope. The rear one is for grenade.
You weirdo. You absolute weirdo. What's reload?
Ah.
Oh, okay. You're not totally crazy then.
No.
Crouch?
C.
Not control.
No.
Okay.
C.
Okay.
If you can go prone, it's Z.
Okay.
And the other one I usually change is if you have an in-game diary or Pip-Boy or whatever, I always map that to tab.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair that. Yeah.
Oh, and middle mouse becomes the action key, activate or use or whatever.
That's normally the E key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it is now, anyway.
Yeah.
See, and this is it. This is it, because whilst it's great that we can change everything, I just want a base layout. Because nothing annoys me more than going from one platform to another and then having to let's say I can't rebind all my keys. Or I move to a different computer, or you go to a LAN event and you're not on your own machine. I then have to sit there and fucking fiddle around sorting out all my keybinds and stuff. It's infuriating. Speaking of muscle memory, so if you play a set of Neo Geo fighting games, it doesn't matter which one, but depending on how you play them, the button layout rotates clockwise by one button.
Right.
So, it doesn't matter, but you've got a punch, 2 punches, 2 kicks, right? And all of a sudden, they rotate one button clockwise. So all of a sudden, the buttons that you're used to being light punch becomes heavy punch or whatever, or becomes light kick. And
I see. So instead of the top button, the right button being punch, and the left and bottom button being kick, it becomes the left and top button becomes kick, and the right and the bottom button become punch.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you mean.
And it's it's one of those things that just completely destroys my mind. It throws me every single time, because if I'm used to pressing a certain button on a certain thing to do something, I expect it to stay that way. If I play a shooter on the Xbox, I would like to be able to have that same layout on PC so I don't have to relearn everything. If I play Elite Dangerous on Xbox, I would like those controls to be the same on PC. If I can hook up a racing wheel to a PlayStation and have it go, here's what all the buttons do, I'd like that same kind of thing to happen when I hook it up to a PC. There's no reason it shouldn't.
No.
But for some reason...
I think it's also within the realm of possibility these days. If you're and I will say a weird gamer like me who has a weird configuration, there's several dozen of us. I think there's a thing where Steam, you could set a default configuration in Steam, and whenever you load a newer game up, you could just pull it from your Steam and go, oh, this is what the guy uses.
Yeah.
That should be doable.
Well, they do. Steam has, or Valve has, Steam Input. So you can set up a generic pad to function like an Xbox pad.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of function, or the same kind of functionality they used for the Steam controller, so that you could map a Steam controller to mimic mouse and keyboard and stuff. So you could literally just grab a control pad, like a generic pad, it doesn't work on XYZ game, run it through Steam Input, tell it what you want the control pad to act like. Oh, hey, I want it to be an Xbox pad, or I want it to be a PlayStation pad. And it will then map all of the controls to function as though you were using one of those pads. I don't understand why this is so difficult. I mean, this is what I'm saying, like, if you, a gamer like yourself, were to move over to a different platform, you'd be fucked, because they don't all give you the option to change your layout. I don't understand why a lot of these accessories, the more popular ones, I don't understand why it's such a faff.
Yeah.
Because like if we were playing Euro Truck, the software has a Euro Truck menu in it. Euro Truck recognizes the device. However, if we both plugged in, all of a sudden it could give us completely different layouts. So why? Or it doesn't give you anything. And I was like, because I had it before. I plugged into Euro Truck, and all of a sudden, my left and right indicator were back to front.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't know. It knew what button I wanted, but it had mapped it to the wrong thing. And at one point, it had actually mapped my indicator and my gears together.
That's interesting.
Same button. So I was like, if I wanted to indicate, all of a sudden I had to indicate on the wrong side, but it was also shifting my gears. I was like, what the fuck is this about?
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's something that's always irked me about PC gaming, especially over the last decade or so, especially since control pad support and that has become so clean. I hate having to fiddle around with controller configs. I hate it. And whilst a wheel and a HOTAS really do give you that next level immersion, you are going to have to be willing to deep dive into your controller layouts. Yeah. You might be sat there for 10, 20, 30 minutes mapping all your buttons.
Oh, only 10, 20, 30 minutes?
And but in that time, it breaks my mind.
Because Farming Simulator out of the box, the old version out of the box did not support controller configuration. They didn't support it. So to get it working, you had to use a intermediate bit of software that basically would pretend to be a keyboard, but would read your controller's inputs. So you could use, joystick, mouse, or whatever. Not joystick. Joystick, throttle. You could use it all, and it would interpret it. I remember sat down with this bit once I got that all working with a bit of paper I printed out all that I screenshotted and printed out all the Farming Simulator's controls and sat on a bit of paper at a table for about 2 hours planning out my configuration.
Fucking hell. See, that would kill me. That would, at that point, I'd be like, I don't want to play anymore.
Yes, but I'm that sort of person who thinks that's really fun.
Sure. It's like, well, okay, like this way. Elite Dangerous. All of a sudden you're playing Elite Dangerous, and out of nowhere a new key comes up that you need to map. Fuck, it does my head in.
Yeah.
Or, even worse, right? So my wheel is based on the Xbox edition, right? Euro Truck will map for an Xbox pad. So my lights, my indicators, all of that kind of stuff gets mapped to a pad. Plug that thing in with all of the same buttons, all of the same face buttons, A, B, X, Y, the D-pad, all that. Yeah. They don't fucking map. So all of a sudden, my lights don't work. But if I hook up a pad, hey, my lights work. Same buttons are there. It's an X input control pad. It is an Xbox layout. It knows it's an Xbox layout. But then I have to go, well, what was my cruise control? What were my lights? What was this? What was that? And to try and get the two to mesh together so that I'm not completely screwing with muscle memory is a nightmare. Like when I was talking to, when I talked to you and when I talked to Jet when we're playing Euro Truck, you could have cruise control mapped to a completely different button to Jet or Zaber or me, and trying to when someone's like, oh, so how do I hitch up the truck? How do I hitch up the trailer? Can't tell you, mate. Depends what you got the button mapped to.
Cruise control's the volume up button on my TV monitor.
There you go. I've got all mine set to Alt F4. Like everything is just Alt F4.
Yeah.
Or the reset button on my tower case.
Yeah. To start the truck on off, I have to go press the doorbell.
Yeah, that's about right. What you got mapped to your light switch?
Oh, my actual light switch.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm telling the trick is to make sure you have your light switch in the right position before you start the game. Otherwise, your lights in your room might be on when you're actually...
Oh, no, man, I hate it when that happens.
Yeah,
I hate it when that happens because everything's back to front.
Exactly, you have to show it. The electrician's not happy with me. They put it that way.
Well, they'll learn.
Yeah.
But no, that's
why is your light switch got a USB cable coming out of it? Well,
it's important.
It's very important. Yeah.
So why have you got this little Bluetooth box like hooked into all the wire in here? It's like, I need to play Euro Truck.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, it's one of my old pet peeves about PC gaming.
What do you mean his trailers attached to the washing line? Why wouldn't it be?
Why RAM? Why that? Why not this? Well, because I didn't have access to that at the time.
Yeah, the tumble dryer was too far away.
That was a nightmare in VR.
Yeah, the cable wasn't long enough. So
god damn it. No, it's one of my, like I say, it's just one of my old pet peeves about PC gaming. I remember the old days when you'd have XYZ layout. And, we'd go from cursor keys to WASD to whatever, where you didn't have a unified layout. Then we had the Xbox and all that, decent Xbox controller configurations and all that. That got brought over to PC. That made things a lot cleaner. And then Call of Duty and like Halo and all that would have roughly the same controller layouts. Like control would be crouch and reload would be R, action would be E, like all sorts of other, all these other things would be mapped in that kind of cluster, and they'd all be similar. Every game would be similar.
Am I right in thinking that in Japan, on like the PlayStation, they used to use circle as like acknowledge, yes, and we used to use X.
Yes.
Yeah, because that was a thing, wasn't it? You had to, if you bought Japanese game, would be use different configuration.
Yep. So my PSP was a Japanese PSP, so my PSP was laid out differently. So if I wanted to go forwards in the menu, I had to push circle for the main menu, for the XMB menu, the main system menu. But then as soon as I got into a game, if it was a British game or an American game, I'd then have to kind of flip my head round and go, no, I now need to press X to move forward. Yeah. And that's a nightmare, actually, if you're playing on the Nintendo Switch, because Nintendo don't use the same button layouts as Sony and Microsoft. So
it's a really bizarre thing, that, because like presumably you'd think that Sony, well, possibly if they obviously think of it, that would have said, okay, our standard is X, Y, Z. This is the if you decide in all the options on the game console, it uses circle to go forward, so you should copy that in your games.
Yeah,
but it just didn't happen. Presumably, well, there was obviously no stand. They never set it up as a stand. It's just like somebody just did it that way, and everybody copied them.
So, Nintendo were the one that started so circle forwards was the same thing with Nintendo, because B is go back, A is go forwards. B is in the place of X on the PlayStation pad. Go back. A, circle, go forwards. Microsoft comes along and they flip it. So A is your bottom button, which is X, or B on the Nintendo pad. But A is go forwards, which is the same as the Western PlayStation X button, which is go forwards. So it was a Western thing that fucked it up. Nintendo.
It sounds also like a sneaking past copyright thing as well.
Maybe. I mean,
or Microsoft being awkward.
Could be.
Which is more likely to be fair.
Yeah, probably. But then, as I say, Sony, when the PlayStation's over here, when it's a Western console, the A and X buttons, Microsoft's A and Sony's X button, same location, is go forwards. But when you go to Japan, X is go back, which is the same as Nintendo's layout. So it's a Japanese thing. It's just more a Japanese thing. It's catering to Japanese muscle memory. Nintendo just never flipped it for when it came over to the West. So that can really screw with my muscle memory. So if I play a game on an Xbox pad on PC, and then I go over and play the same game on Switch, the buttons are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. If you ran a custom firmware on PlayStations back in the day, if you had a foreign PlayStation, you could actually use a custom firmware tweak to flip X and circle. Although the Japanese don't like it when you call it X. It's cross.
It's cross.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing, right? To me, it's an X because the way the arms go. If it was rotated like a few degrees so that the arms were horizontal and vertical, that's a cross in my mind.
No, yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
But I mean, because in my group, we always called it X. X circle, square,
I
triangle.
always called it X because it looks like a fucking X.
But then we're told, well, but then why would you have, square, triangle, circle, and not a cross? Why would one be a letter and the others be?
I would argue that X is more is doing a dual role there. Yes, it's a letter, but it's also descriptive of the shape of the object.
See,
this is why personally I called it X square triangle and O.
Oh,
but
really?
You see, no.
I was going to say that'd be fucking really weird if you did. O X.
No, you see, that's
what
why
would triangle be?
No,
is there any way you can?
A.
Yeah, A. Fucking hell.
Yeah, square is D.
No, I thought you'd say that'd be great.
You see, the O key is called O because when you want to go, because it's the acts like say exception, because you're going, oh yes,
Right.
oh yes. You see, what makes sense?
Sure. Is that why the Japanese do it?
That and the pointy buttons on the other side, and the two swizzle sticks in the middle.
Fucking swizzle sticks, fucking hell. I will say though,
and you can swizzle them. Sticks.
I will say that's another thing that gets me.
And the squeezy buttons on the front.
The squeezy buttons on the front. That is one of the things that gets me as well with some games. When they do flip control layouts, that L1 and R1, L2, R2. The PlayStation though, like everyone knows that. You go over to Xbox though, it's RB, LB, and then RT, LT, and it's a simple thing.
Yeah.
But it's like if you were learning a foreign language, you almost translate it, because it's not natural to you. You translate it in your head. You say it in English and then translate, or you've got it in your head in English and then translate it into this thing. There's a bit of a delay there. There's some latency going on as you're trying to.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. The latency of the human mind.
And so, but I have that quite badly when I flip between systems. You know, as I say, for yourself, as you only play on PC, it's not a huge problem because you can just map everything. But that's why I want a universal layout.
Yeah, I get that.
Because when you move between platforms, if all of a sudden all my buttons are mapped differently, it's a fucking nightmare. I have it all the time. It's like, oh yeah, let's bring up the menu. Oh, I pressed the wrong one. Oh, I just accidentally deleted my save. What a tits.
No, I get that. I get that. I can see your reasoning for that. I totally get it.
That's, I hate it. Like, I love, as I say, I love the idea of a wheel. I love the idea of a HOTAS. I do not like the idea of setting the fucking thing up. Especially when I get partway through setting something up, and then I'll go, oh crap, I forgot to map that button. Euro Truck. I've got a fine for not turning on my lights. Press the button that would normally be the lights. Doesn't work, because for some reason it's not mapped.
Yeah, there goes your trailer.
It's like, oh, off it goes. Oh. Oh no, I put the parking brake on. Shit.
Yeah. No, it is a sort of like it is a sort of like you have to sort of like when you want to play a game and it's like, well, I'm going to be using HOTAS, so I dedicate time to configuring this. I mean, Elite's got a lot of controls in it, and the way it's configured at the moment, I'm not happy with. So I'm going to have to redo. I need to sit down and redo Elite at some point to make it sense.
And there's a lot of controls in Elite.
There's a lot of controls in Elite, and it's like, is this control important? The description doesn't tell me if it's important or not. Because let's be honest, there are some controls that you'll press once, like every 10 hours, and one you'll be pressing every 5 seconds. And you must make sure that you understand which one they are, because you're going to really hate yourself if you leave one on the keyboard.
But that's also part of my problem with Euro Truck and that as well. I just can't believe that some of this stuff isn't mapped by default. And I could just imagine, as you say, there's that one button in Elite that you'll only use once every 10 hours. It's like, yeah, but when you get to that point and you haven't got it mapped, you're going to be fucking furious. Yeah. Scrambling to try and find out what it is you've got to do.
Yeah.
And then
kicking yourself. When you're on VR.
Oh, mate. Well, that was the other problem as well. I was in Euro Truck in VR and trying to map all this stuff out. I was like, fuck this. I've had enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, controls and control layouts.
All fun.
They fucking suck. What have you been up to, Ram?
Well, truthfully, I had put aside a game to play.
Are you saying that we've just been padding on purpose?
No, never pad on purpose. We never do such a thing. I have started playing a game which I haven't got. I've only really sort of scratched the sort. I'm like sort of in the not so much intro part, but in the sort of before sort of mechanics actually start coming through and like everything starts happening stage. I've been playing the 2018 version of, and I say I'm in early stage of this, Call of Cthulhu.
All right.
It was a game. It's based on from what I've read, it's based on the actual RPG, like mechanic wise. And you are a detective who is hired to go. Let's say he's in 1920s Boston, and this wealthy man hires you to investigate the death of his daughter and her husband and their son who died in a fire. And he basically hires you to go to this place called Dark Water. It's like a little island off the coast of Boston, off the sort of like coast near Boston. And he's actually to go there and basically investigate and find out what happened to his daughter. And so you basically go off and try and find out. And as I've very literally just sort of started it. I've not even sort of like it's a survival horror game. I've not got to the stage where I have to survive any horrors. So so I really can't comment too much on it. It'd be unfair to comment on because I've not really sort of got the gameplay, but it seems somewhat quite neat so far with the little bit I have played. I am recording it as well for a Let's Play. I'm actually recording it as well. But because I don't really know much about Call of Cthulhu. I don't know much about sort of Lovecraft's. I know bits and pieces I've picked up through like cultural osmosis.
Yeah, sure.
I know Cthulhu's the big guy with the sort of tentacly face. I know that much.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's got to do with. I know he's got to do with fish. A lot to do with fish. And a lot to do with people going mad. And occults. And that's basically my knowledge of Call of Cthulhu. It's always said 1920s America. That's all my knowledge of Call of Cthulhu reached at its end.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested in exploring the basically to me a whole new universe.
Yeah.
That I've explored. So I think, but it's got stuff. So your leveling system is fairly neat. So you basically you basically only have 5 or 6 stats, but they're all stats. They're not like your usual stats, like gun mechanics stuff. It's like they're like you can see how they're going to interact with the game. So there's a strength one, which is how good you are putting things or swinging things and so forth. There's one called investigation, which is how good you are investigating areas and searching stuff. There's one which is like a spot where if it's higher, you'll see things in the environment. They'll get highlighted for you, which you would miss otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think they just don't get highlighted at all. So if there's a highlight, you can't pick them up. So this means you can highlight. You'll see more hidden stuff. There's a medicine one as well where you can assess stuff. Interesting. There's one called medicine, one called occult, and you can only upgrade those by finding medicine books or stuff about the occult in the environment. That's the only way you upgrade them. Everything else you earn points to upgrade them.
Mm-hmm.
So there are very few actual stats, but you can see they're going to be all fairly important. So it is actual decisions, and I say the points you make isn't like a case of 1 point gives you 1 upgrade. It's no, they cost several points to upgrade. So you start with investigation at level 3 because you're a private detective, so it's always quite high. To get to level 4, it takes 8 points to get it up there.
Sure.
So it's fairly involved, and it's also neat that you can actually put points into things before you've got enough. Most games, you'd be okay, I need 8 points to upgrade this. I've only got 7. I'll just have to ignore those and leave them sat there. Or if I'm not, or I will end up having, you'll come back later and I need that, and you'll upgrade something else and forget about them. Well, this one you can actually put the points into, and there'll be a progress bar, and it'll grow. You won't actually unlock the next level until you have enough in there, but you can spend them as and when you have them, which is sort of neat. And these then also give you more speech options and stuff. And talking of NPCs, you go to an NPC in your chat, and if you'll get an option they'll ask you a question, you'll get 3 or 4 responses. And once you say a response, that's it. You're not the conversation. They'll give you the answer. The conversation ends. You can't go back, so you have to be careful what you ask. It seems quite neat. Like I said, I'm the first day you start with your office, and then you get to the docks of Darkwater. I'm literally still at the docks. I've literally barely scratched the surface of it, so I can't really speak more. I'll hopefully speak more about it. Next podcast where I've actually played it properly.
Sure.
Jimmy says, Ian lads, and he's played the game, it's decent. Oh, good. So I'll look forward to that.
I just literally got a notification on my phone. The phone just told me the same thing in a text message. So it might be worth. I might check it out.
Yeah, it's on your wish list because everything on Steam's on your wish list.
I was going to say, look, mate. Everything on Steam is my wish list.
Yeah.
Gaben still hasn't given me that account yet. So, just going to have to keep on putting things on my wish list. Is it Steam Deck compatible? Does it say?
Oh, let me find out.
Come on, son. Get it done.
Go to the store page. I'm sure it will be.
The Middlemeister can try it.
Yeah. I'm assuming it'd be down the side where it says single player.
See, I do struggle sometimes finding that kind of information on the Steam pages.
Well, it says it's got full controller support, so I'd assume it'd be Steam Deck compatible.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, it's 2018, so it's a few years old. So it's only $4.49 at the moment on a weekend deal. Offer ends the 13th of April.
Oh, don't say that because I'm poor. I'm really poor right now.
How can it be a weekend deal that an offer ends on the 13th?
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
By definition.
But yeah, so unfortunately, I can't. I plan to play more of it, but things just didn't.
Life happened.
Yeah, yeah, life happened and things just went well. Oh well.
Not for you, Ram. Not for
No,
you.
no, pig issues mainly.
It's always the way.
It is. Pigs get in the way of everything.
God damn it. But they taste so good.
Well, that's why. You see, yes, pigs cause a lot of trouble, but they are good. I went to him today. Because he's been he's been tight for the farm lately because of COVID and cost of living crisis and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not been able to sort of afford to pay my bill for a few months. So I said, it's fine. And I said to him, I said, you don't even pay my bill for much. I said, can I fill you up for some sausages later? He says, I'll see what I can do. And he took me to say, he opened the freezer. I went to, he said, I'll get you some sausages. So he opened the freezer up and there was he said, is that a shelf there? And there's like a shelf, like 20 packs of sausages. I said, yeah. He said, they're all yours.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've got like 20 odd packs of sausages in my freezer now.
So we now know what you'll be eating for the next couple of weeks.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And people are like, weeks? It's like, yeah, breakfast, dinner, tea, snack.
Oh, save it. Well, we're getting to barbecue season now, you see?
You got to think toad in the hole, sausage casserole.
Not for
hot dogs. Shut the fuck up, you're going to eat them anyway.
I don't like toad in the hole.
It doesn't matter if you like it. It's just a way for you to cook off sausages.
Oh, I don't need it. Like, our sausages are so tasty. This is not exaggeration. Often, I'll literally just cook them and just eat just the sausages and nothing else.
Yeah, I do that too.
I'll literally cook them.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, literally cook them, chuck them in a bowl, and just sit there and eat them like a popcorn.
When we got that hamper from you guys for Christmas, oh, fucking hell. You don't want to eat any of that other shit you get from the shop. Because the stuff you get from the shop is genuinely shit.
Yeah. Yeah, our stuff is good.
You spoil us.
Yeah, well, I know the secret to why our stuff tastes so good, but I'm sworn to secrecy.
Antifreeze.
No, it's all the human meat.
Oh, no. Fantastic! I wonder why I was getting a nosebleed.
Yeah. No, it's what type of meat goes into our sausages that makes
it's love. That's why they're so salty. Yeah. They're not actually. They're fantastic.
No, they are beautiful. Our sausages. We do produce good stuff. Downside is that they cost us lots to make, got to get there because most sausages you buy from the shops, those pigs are probably sort of 5-6 months old by the time they go to slaughter, maybe. Ours are like nearly a year by the time they go in.
Yeah.
We slow grow them and stuff. So it takes an awful lot of time for sausages ready to, pigs, for our pigs to be ready to eat. And means we have to charge, it costs us a lot more to make and produce. It means we have to charge a bit more for them, but you can't charge too much, otherwise people won't buy them.
Mm-hmm.
So our profit margin on our sausages isn't probably as great as like Richmond's.
Sure.
But our pigs, our sausages have actually got actual pork in them, not like sort of, they aim to like dangle the pig over. They aim to like dangle the pig over the sausage machine and sort of call it good.
Just rub it against the packet. There you go.
Yeah.
It's going to sound weird actually because the food industry is intriguing to me. I'd heard that once upon a time, the Americans, part of the American food industry, they were putting formaldehyde in things being sent to their troops.
I can believe it.
And I was like, that's fucking terrible. That more people were dying from their rations than from the war they were fighting.
I can believe it.
I was like, what is fucking wrong with you people? Oh yeah, but you just pad out the food a bit. Doesn't matter if it's a bit rotten. We'll just embalm it.
Yeah, I can believe it. Well, they wash their chicken in bleach and stuff.
Oof.
It's all right because Rishi Sunak wants us to start having American imports of their food, which means we get to import their low standard food.
Gym mats, What do you mean they're expensive yet low quality food?
Yeah, they're expensive, but very low shitty quality food.
I haven't quite understood that yet about America. Like, their house prices are ridiculously low, but their food prices are strangely high.
Yes, well, that is actually it's a weird actually what things cost a lot of money there, and well, of course, what really costs them a lot of money is their health prices, but
Which is
it's
why their
very
food
weird.
is so shit to make sure that
Yeah,
you.
it is very weird their their whole because they seem to think that they're quite cheap. I mean, I don't think it's cheap. Their fuel is dirt cheap, but yet everything else is expensive. It's really weird.
Fuel and electronics. It's the cheap stuff I can think of in America. House prices are cheap, but every fucking thing else, I'm like, dude,
But
no,
to be
mate.
fair, their houses are cheap, but they are basically
They're
made.
built
They
like
are made.
shite.
Yeah. Whenever I follow through like sort of like I like following like the sort of like trade subreddits and on Reddit. So like I follow
Yeah.
electricians and the Havoc one because I find it quite interesting watching what they get up to. And then they'll put photos of like buildings that's to work on. It's like, oh, this house is literally like timber and like OSB board.
Yeah, it's about right.
And it's like OBS boards, I think. Was it OSB? Yeah, OSB, Altered Strand board, OSB board. And it's like, bloody hell, the houses are built cheap.
Mhm.
Yes, they are cheap to buy, but they are built like crap.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah. But then I think part of the reason is a lot of parts of America, your house gets blown away every other year.
Yeah.
Or it gets shaken to down every other year. Also, they don't need houses that most parts where it's warm. They don't need the houses that hold the heat like we do.
No, for sure.
I believe in their more colder areas, they have more brick built houses. I believe for the same reason we have brick built because of the heat. So
Maybe. I don't know.
yeah,
America's weird.
America's weird.
I would never be allowed to go to America.
Well, no other things you say on this podcast.
Oh, you damn right, son. And some of the stuff I say on my live stream, I know for a fact I would step off that fucking plane and they'd be like, no.
Down the ground. You're under arrest.
That's it. I wouldn't even get to the gate.
You're being charged with insulting America.
It's like, what? When have I ever fucking said anything bad about this shithole, you cunts?
And they just hold up a phone with your live stream on it.
It's like, oops.
Shit.
Fuck, here we go again.
By the way, I subscribe to you. I like it, but you'll be arrested anyway.
Rockin'. Click that like button.
Yeah. Please click the like button. I need to pay for my lawyers.
Nah, mate, you don't get the chance to have a lawyer. You're going straight to fucking Guantanamo. What?
Yeah. We only send terrorists and people who insult America.
You're British.
And if you think about it, they're the same thing.
What do you got against freedom? You slimy limey. Like,
What do you want? What do you want? Me? You don't want to have children shot in your schools every other week.
What do you got against guns? It's like, well, lots of things, really. What about freedom? Well, depends. What we on about here?
Yes, it's like you do realize that freedom and guns are not mutually exclusive.
Whoa, watch out, Ram. He's kicking the fucking hornet's nest.
You can have both. You know, it's. And they say they're free, but I see them constantly saying that some of the even for the legal advice or some of the things they come up with saying, like in some parts of America, your car can't be parked in the same place for more than like 48 hours.
Mate, let's be fair, we've got some really ass backwards laws.
We have, but some of the ways laws they have are fucking bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if it's parked more than 4 hours, it can get towed away because it's abandoned. It's like what?
Wasn't it a thing? I don't know how true this is. We're going back to like the 60s and before, but they considered you, if you were not part of like the original group or the children of the original group that fucked off to the Americas, you weren't American?
Can't say I've heard that, but I bet I'm sure some group will believe that.
It was like, let's say after everything's kind of established, if you came in and wanted to, you wanted that new life,
you can only you had to have the pre-purchase DLC for America.
That was it. That was genuinely it.
Yeah.
The Americans, because they were cruel as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you come from XYZ place in Europe, pfft, you go over there. We don't want your kind here. That kind of thing. I was like,
you got to remember, the people who went to America were the sort of religious fundamentalist crazy people.
Yeah.
There wasn't like sort of like sensible people sailed over there. It was the extreme people. The reason they went over there is they got fed up. They got fed up the fact that we were like, no, don't be stupid.
Yeah, look, just no.
Please tone it down a bit. No, I want to be able to persecute people. I'm going to form a new country where I can persecute all I want.
So do you remember that time when you were still on the soapbox in the town square and you were told to shut the fuck up? That still applies. It's like, well, I'm going to go over here and you can't tell me what to do. It's like, yeah, because it'll take us months to get here, you bastard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And frankly, you're not worth the trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
By the way, can we have that tobacco, the sugar, and the fucking bananas, please?
Don't forget potatoes.
No, potatoes. Because the Irish can't do that very well.
I'll tell this is. I want to tell you an awful joke. How many potatoes does it take to kill an Irishman? 0.
Oh, you're terrible, Ram. You're terrible. You're never going to the States.
or Ireland now.
Nope. I don't think we've ever been welcome in Ireland. Well,
I
really.
I quite like the Irish.
I don't really think we're welcome anywhere. Let's be honest.
We're barely welcome our own country.
Mate, we're barely welcome in our own town.
Yeah.
Mate, it's true. People always think I'm a foreigner.
You are a foreigner.
Mate, I'll have you know I'm not from the north side of town.
You left and came back. You're basically a foreigner.
Actually, no, you have a mate. I caused Inky so much trouble once, right? So my wife's on the train station in Lowestoft Town Centre, the main train station, and she's talking she's just chatting to me. I was like, surrounded by all those foreigners, eh? And she had me on loudspeaker. And look, all the people started looking at her. I was like, them damn foreigners. I was like, and she's like, she was like, no, don't. And I was like, all right, I'll explain myself. Anyone north of the bridge is a foreigner to me. You're not local.
Did that work?
Yeah, actually, funny enough.
Oh, okay, fair enough, yeah. Did they all go, fair enough?
And they were like, yeah, he's clearly crazy.
Yeah.
If it isn't from, roughly the Whitton estate, you're a foreigner.
Yeah.
You're against, especially if you're from the Gunton estate, you fucking weirdos.
Work in the countryside in rural Norfolk, there is some Royston Vasey places about up there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There are definitely places where you do feel like you walk in there, it's like,
are you local?
You've got a Suffolk accent. We don't like your kind here.
That is about right. That is right. It's one of the great things about this country. You can tell near enough to the mile where someone's from based on just random shit they say. It's like, oh, mate, no. It's one of them.
Yeah. Walking around Norfolk, you're from Suffolk. Yes, I am. It's all right. I'll speak slower for you.
Oh, mate. It's absolutely great. So people say, I've had people come up to me and go, so how long have you been living here for then? I was like, hey? What? So, well, where are you from? Now, of course, I don't take offense to this. It's like, I hate to admit it, but, here.
Yeah.
Bless them.
Bless them.
But you don't look like you're from around here. It's like, no, I know I don't. Because I have class.
Now, shut up, peasant, and let me get on.
Be gone, peasant. Out of my sight. And thank you for the shoe shine.
Yeah. Yes. Here, have a penny. Spend. Don't spend it all at once.
And now you know why I'm hated in my own town.
And then Skazz walks down with his cane, his top hat, and his coattails.
Mate, I have a top hat and I have a cane.
And his monocle.
I have a monocle because I'm blind in one eye.
You see? You see? Posh bastard.
Well, I did say, mate, that's why I get handed champagne after the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. me little ruffian here with his coke and his like blanket. They did promise me fingerless gloves so I don't get cold at night.
Oh, mate. Boo.
Yeah. Yeah. Skazz gets chaperoned back to his like sort of penthouse suite. I
Yeah.
get chaperoned back to my cardboard box.
That's about right.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be fair. I do think that they're being unfair with our wages. They probably should up.
You get paid?
Shit. Shit. That Oh.
Spielberg shaking his head at you right now.
Yeah. Oh, mate, we get paid. Support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/whatever.
Nerds.
Do we even have one?
Yeah, we've got a Patreon.
Oh, there you go. Do that
Yeah.
so Ram can get paid.
I need to buy myself my black magic camera.
Ram needs to get out of that cardboard box.
Yeah.
He's got the
Damn it. If I try hard enough, I get a plastic barrel. You know.
Mate, there are slums in India that look classier than your cardboard box.
That's not very nice.
I know, that was a bit of a dig.
Oh,
wasn't it?
I've redecorated. I'm getting extension put on.
Look at the egg cartons.
Yeah, that's the patio.
Very good. Very good.
Well, we've managed to pad this enough, I think, Skazz.
Fantastic.
Right. So, unless Skazz got anything else to add.
No, mate, I think I'm done, mate. If I don't get assassinated.
So, thank you very much for watching us this evening. If you enjoyed this, you can breathe, Ram. You can do this. You can do this. You
Breathe.
Can do this. Stillness like an ocean in a storm.
Fucking stillness like an ocean with the power to wreck any ship.
Exactly. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Rand Nerds. You can find us more information on us if you go to our website, randnerds.co.uk. You can also get our podcast on there. Subscribe to that. Please do. It helps us out. You can check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/randnerds or our Twitch TV channel, twitch.tv/randnerds. That one.
/randnerds.
You'll figure it out, I'm sure.
You know how to internet.
You can join us for our game night. Next game night is on the 12th of April on Wednesday at approximately 20:30 GMT +1.
We'll be playing a game, assuming that everyone's there.
Yes. And you can join us for our next podcast on the 22nd of April at approximately 9:30 GMT +1.
I've clearly derailed Ram. You can find him at twitch.tv/the Suffolk Ram. And you can find me at
twitch.tv/Skazzius.
Spell it.
SK4ZZI0US.
Yeah! Fucking pro. Good job.
I think I've got used to typing it out enough times now. Sort of,
So that's that muscle memory, mate. Can't be changing them keybinds now.
Well, trouble I find muscle memory is like at work. So ask me to do something, and I'll go, I know how to do it, but I can't tell you to do it because I do it all via muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll sit there and go, what option do I need on this?
See, that's the exact thing I do when it comes to being an obnoxious prick.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know why. I just do it.
Yeah, it just happens. Well, anyway, thank you guys. See you later.